Cheap veterans are the ultimate cheat code into winning your fantasy season, so I'm here to give you 5 veterans that you need to draft right here on the Fast Draft channel. Right off the bat, one of my favorite players to draft, no matter what the format, best ball, dynasty, redraft, Davante Adams right now. Now, I know that he's 32 years old, but we already saw him have 2 mostly productive seasons, albeit the end of the Jets was a little bit weird. I'm not even convinced that season was real, but he moves to a high volume, efficient offense over with the Rams and Sean McVay. Now, I know it seems crowded because they've had Puka Nacua, but we've already seen that this offense could support plenty of targets since we saw passing volume go to both Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, and even Kyren Williams. So when you consider that you're getting him in the 9th round, sometimes in Dynasty, the 3rd and 4th turn in redraft, and even in our Flex 4 ADP that's flex only, draft 6, start 4, he's going around 42. This is someone who has week-to-week wide receiver 1 upside that you can draft as a wide receiver 2 or even 3 in some cases. This gives you the opportunity to have a strong wide receiver build if you do want to go wide receiver first, second, third, or on the flip side, you can have 2 strong running backs, or let's say focus on quarterback or a high leverage tight end, depending on what format you're playing in. You can still get a quality wide receiver with plenty of upside like Davante Adams. And the real kicker, it's super easy to stack him with Matt Stafford later, or even with Puka Nacua if you want to play that game. When you consider where he's being ranked right now in redraft with Michael Pittman, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Noel, Davante Adams is one of the only players where I see true upside. As you can see, he had 17.2 points per game in 2024. No one in that area is even close. That's an easy button click. Next, we have a running back, Chuba Hubbard. Remember how I said you can get a strong wide receiver build with Davante Adams as your wide receiver 2? Here's your perfect opportunity to get a discount strong running back like Chuba Hubbard. A lot of people forget that he's the Panthers' longest tenure player, and he's just coming off a season with 16.1 points per game. The Panthers just gave him a long-term contract. Jonathan Brooks is out another season, and Dave Canales knows how to use his running backs and clearly loves him. He's fallen to the 5th round in redraft, and in our Flex 4, the 3rd round. When you consider the amount of touches that a Canales offense has given to running backs like Rashod White, who aren't even as strong as runners as Hubbard, you have to love the upside. Another underrated factor, this isn't great, he had almost 10% of the target share. Now, that isn't Jahmyr Gibbs status by any means, but that does give you that bump to where you're getting a low-end RB1 at RB2 costs. Right now, player profiler is being ranked around Derrick Henry, Bashal Tutin, and David Montgomery. When you consider that David Montgomery could start seeing more and more of that back seat as Jahmyr Gibbs moves further and further along into that elite echelon status, Derrick Henry on the wrong side of 30 at this point, and he only got 50% of the running back snaps, and that's all while competing with Lamar Jackson for rushing touches. That's not an indictment to Henry, but that just shows you that Hubbard arguably has more upside. Now, I know a lot of you are wondering, what is Bryce Young in that offense? I do think that what we saw towards the tail end of the season is more of a vision of what we're going to see in the future, especially when you consider now they have a wide receiver like Ted McMillan. Now Xavier Legette can play in a tertiary role, or we can see more of his benefit, and Adam Thielen's still there. This is an offense on the ascend, and you could get their RB1 at a cheap cost. Now, I know I have him with veterans here, but he's still not that old at 26 years old. And moreover, he hasn't had a whole lot of touches up until the last couple of seasons. When you're trying to build a roster that insulates value from busts, like especially like the Christian McCaffreys, so you go after the wide receivers like Lad McConkey, Puka Nacua, Chuba Hubbard is the ideal target for your roster. Now, if you like videos like this, or if you want more information, hit the like and subscribe button and leave a comment, or you could hop in our Fast Draft Discord. We got a growing community in there where we're talking best ball all the time. We constantly have drafts going on, and it's cheap for you to get in there. You can use my code JAG that's on the screen, and then we give you over a $50 deposit match, so you could get in on all these easily exploitable ADPs and win some cash. Now we'll go over to another running back, Jordan Mason of the Minnesota Vikings. Remember last year with Jordan Mason, he had back-to-back RB1 games in an exciting rushing offense like the 49ers. Now he goes over to almost an exact same offense with maybe a little bit more passing centric and a little bit more competition, but the amount of upside that he could get behind someone like Aaron Jones, who isn't getting any younger. Jordan Mason is one of the easiest clicks at cost. Dynasty Superflex, the 14th round right now. Redraft ADP, the 10th round. The flex floor, he's not even going drafted right now. He's the ideal player that gives you diversity leverage with high upside to greatly outperform his ADP in almost any format. The Vikings love that outside rushing scheme that gives us all that production and those huge games that we love, like from Christian McCaffrey, or if you want to go to South Beach to Miami, what we see from Devon Achane. Jordan Mason is the perfect build and the complement for someone like Aaron Jones, who we'll see, yes, get a lot of that receiving work, but it's also important to note that Aaron Jones hasn't had a healthy season, I don't think ever. Moreover, a lot of us are still in the mentality that last season, which was considered an outlier when you think about injuries to these older veterans, I'm willing to make that bet that Jordan Mason has upwards of 5 starting caliber games at the very least. At cost, he should be the ultimate target in your middle rounds. Next, another running back, Javonte Williams. When you think about J.K. Dobbins and what he did for fantasy managers, especially at cost, look at Javonte Williams as that next option for your 2025 season. He's going basically around the same thing in redraft and in dynasty, the 13th, 14th turn, and in flex 4, again, undrafted. I'm giving you these guys that you could get with your last couple of picks that can give you a unique roster, that can give you a unique build, that gives you some of these players with high upside that other people aren't really drafting. Now, Javonte Williams had a tale of 2 seasons. I know the Broncos had one of the best offensive lines towards the end of last season, but Javonte Williams didn't play so hot towards the tail end. Before that, though, he had one of the highest broken tackle rates. So when you consider what he did before Sean Payton got there, Javonte Williams has the juice and ability to be something. Injuries and situation have just gotten in the way. Now you go to the Cowboys, who run their offense through the rushing game and desperately need production and just got production out of someone like Rico Dowdle. The opportunity for Javonte Williams is real. Now, I know Jaden Blue's there, but Jaden Blue wasn't exactly the perfect prospect, and if anything, I think the Cowboys might have overdrafted him considering all the other options that they had at running back. Moreover, they could be complementary to each other. So when you think about where you've gotten Javonte Williams in conjunction to his upside, these are the type of running backs that you need to target to give you a unique build or give you some focus on more important positions that give you that positional advantage. Let's say like tight end, quarterback, and wide receiver. We see this year in, year out. One of these running back vets go to a new home and they turn into a workhorse and give us a great season. Now, I'm not saying that Javonte Williams is going to fix your dynasty roster, but in best ball, in redraft, he's one of the ultimate targets that has a clear path to crack your lineup and help win your weeks. Lastly, I'm going to finish on a wide receiver, Rashod Bateman. Now, I know a lot of people got burned by Rashod Bateman as a rookie, but again, this is another one where the injuries talked louder than the actual skill. And now that his foot injury seems to be taken care of and he's been on the field more often, we saw a lot of what they want to do with him now that Lamar Jackson is more acclimated to the Todd Monken offense and they know how to move these pieces around the field, especially what we saw in the playoffs from him. He's incredibly easy to stack with a high-end quarterback that a lot of people are targeting like Lamar Jackson, and he's relatively cheap considering what he can do with that upside. And it's not even just what he can do, let's say if Zay Flowers got injured. He's already earning targets on his own and he already plays a different position. According to Matt Harmon, he's exclusively played at the X more often than almost any player in the NFL. It's an outlier how specific his role is. So if we see them up his usage, and we know they want to, especially after they've given him a contract extension, I'm willing to bet on his 10th, 11th round ADP, even 14th round in Dynasty Superflex, and in our Flex 4 tournament, 109. Again, another undrafted player. you could go almost strict running back and have those high leverage touches and touchdown getters, and then get another wide receiver with wide receiver 2 upside, or at least a path to 1,000 yards and let's say 7 touchdowns. Rashod Bateman is one of the better picks you can get in late rounds. He's being shadow realmed even within our rankings at Player Profiler, going behind De'Ami Brown, ahead of Demario Douglas and Ty Felton. Last year he had 10.3 points per game. I think that there's more room left on the bone, especially he's going behind De'Ami Brown, who's only ever had 4.2 points per game. This is what I'm saying about targeting vets that give you an advantage. Rashod Bateman is the ideal target. And that'll do it, folks. As always, I'm Jagger May. If you guys want to talk best ball, dynasty, redraft, just talking ball, talking fantasy, hit the like and subscribe button. I'll have videos for you all the time. Love you. See you on the next one.
So I thought I needed.